I started a year with 450 unread books on my shelf, and I have been slowly but surely going through them throughout the year, especially during my Read It Unhaul It challenge, where I dedicate a whole week every month to trying to go through them. We did some pretty cutthroat editions this year, so the number is down. I refuse to remember what it is because too much pressure. But this week, you can see my shelves are a mess because I am in the middle of reorganizing them. They're going to be finally divided by read versus unread. So I feel like it's going to put even more pressure. But also it's going to be fun to just visually see what I have that I haven't read. And it's going to make it a little hard though right now because I have to go and find whatever I pick from the jar, but we can do it. If I'm being honest, I'm not in a reading slump, but I just feel like a mood reader right now. So I'm hoping it's not going to be a very difficult book or another fantasy. I feel like all I've been reading from this challenge has been fantasy books. So that is pink. Pink is fine. I almost thought about doing it only like red, which is mystery, thriller, horror, but I think we're going to keep that for October. So pink is my everything else section. So contemporary literary fiction, historical fiction, romance, everything that I used to not read that much of, but you're going to see I have like 4 or 5 shelves right now. Obviously it's messy, but still. So hopefully the camera will cooperate. Okay, are we ready? 1-star romance. That's, I mean, a romance book, obviously. I know it's blue and yellow. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, let's find this. It should be on here, and I'm pretty sure to actually... No, oh, I thought it was this one. It's one of those, though. Oh. That must be, there you go. I knew it was blue and yellow. Kinda, right? Okay. If I remember correctly, in this one, the premise is that the main female character is at this wedding, and the best man turns out is the man that gave her book 1 star. Which obviously not a great start to any kind of relationship because I'm assuming it's going to be like an enemies to lovers. I don't read a ton of romance, but considering that I just mentioned I was in a kind of a funky mood, I don't really know what to read, this might be exactly what I need. They never tend to be quite big, although this one is not, it's over 350, so it's not small, but considering they tend to be really readable, this might be exactly what I need. So I'm going to try it and we'll see how that goes. The plan for this week is to start with this book, eventually reorganize these. If I could do at least the ones in my background, like 1 section, I would be happy. I feel like I pushed myself a little too much last time doing all of this, but like if I do 1 section, I would be happy. I still want to try and find good fall movies. I don't tend to finish movies very easily, and I've been trying to find some like older ones that are popular that I just never got around to watching, but maybe I should just rewatch Practical Magic again. I don't know yet. Speaking of fun, I wanted to say thank you to June's Journey for sponsoring this video. They are a free to download video game where you're trying to solve the murder of your sister and her husband. The story is set in the 1920s, so you get the music, the decor to go with it. And as you're slowly piecing things together, you are also discovering some family secrets. It's essentially a hidden object kind of mystery game, so you get a list of objects to find on the screen and it becomes more and more challenging over time. But the game is actually turning 8 this year and they're celebrating their spooky anniversary, which is why my new assistant Chunky decided to dress up in his Halloween costume. He looks absolutely dashing and absolutely not over me. But for the whole month of October, there will be some Halloween events and surprises. So you can currently play a special in-game event to get more rare and special bonuses, with a special Halloween theme and gothic vibe. And of course, the more you play, the more resources you get to transform your island. There's an interactive community if you want some help to solve the mystery, and they also have a June's Journey YouTube channel where they have videos. I will link all the information in the description box, and I'll also put the QR code on the screen. You can click on it if you are interested in trying it. On that note, to make sure the cats forgive me, I will go ahead and give them some churro, and I'm gonna get to work. I'm really curious to see how I'm gonna feel about this one. I have read just over 100 pages and I have opinions, so let's start. I'm gonna be honest, page 1 I was about to just put it down. You know when you read a book and you're like, I don't think the tone is gonna be for me. I feel like sometimes romance or like contemporaries in general, the tone can be almost too modern, and I know it's the perfect genre to do it. Like I'm not denying that, but sometimes like if they mention something modern like Instagram or whatever or TikTok, I feel like it ages them really quickly. And I thought it was going to go into that direction because like page 1, I think it mentions like quote unquote hot garbage twice. And I was like, why are we going into that direction? There was something about the tone that I wasn't vibing with, whatever. And even the way that she does the backstory, like in the middle of a conversation, she will put these huge paragraphs explaining things multiple times. And it's not uncommon. Like I feel like authors do that, but the fact that it stood out is the difference. So I did Google it and I checked the ratings and they're not great. So I wasn't sure if I was going to continue, but then I did and I don't regret it, at least not so far. So at the point where I'm at page 100 and oh there you go, 108, I'm now at part 3, which is another jump ahead after the wedding. At that point, you finally get the reason why he gave her a 1-star review, which I'm not going to spoil. I can happily in the comment section, but I'm trying to keep my videos spoiler free as much as possible. And I don't disagree with him, which I was not expecting at all. So that's that for that portion. I wonder how things are going to progress with this. But to go back to part 1, when they get engaged, you start a story. The main character, she's 24, her best friend is turning 25, and they're going to this party that was prepared by her boyfriend. And the main character doesn't like the boyfriend. She feels like he's silly and just kind of cringy. But at said party, he decides to propose. And she expects her friend to say no because, again, in her head, she's being very, very judgy, and the character is in general. Where did I put that post-it? I don't know where it is, but she says something like about the ring being like fugly, you know, like she's being very judgy. She really thinks her friend is going to say no, and she doesn't. But again, it makes sense. The character is being judgy in general, still is at page 100. I'm assuming maybe some character growth eventually. But I did want to talk about the fact that I think it's usually a red flag whenever a man proposes during a big event for a woman. And it's really not uncommon. And every time I can't deal. Whether it's her birthday or I feel like I've seen it for like graduations a lot. Or wasn't there someone that did that during like someone won an Olympic medal and then her boyfriend proposed? Or during like a marathon? Why do they do like I know they're just stealing the attention and like her accomplishment, reducing them to like matrimony. But like it every time. And what's up in general with marathon bring the worst out of husbands? Like, did you see the clips online? Which obviously online you always get the worst of the worst, but that men that put their kids like just before the finish line to like trip her, not trip her. I meant like mentally trip her, not physically. What did you think? That she would stop for them and like not finish her race? Like, what is wrong with you? Or more recently, there was this husband that ate all his wife's snacks for the last stretch of the marathon. And he's a runner, so he knew exactly what he was doing. And like he recorded her reactions. So again, he knew what he was doing. And these videos piss me off every time. Actually, the only thing that is worse is whenever the wife herself exposes her husband for something. Like the one that showed that he gave her like dog food for her lunch. And then after that they post another video and they're like defending him. What did you do that then? Like, why did you get me all pissed for no reason? Like, if you're not gonna leave him, you're gonna stay and defend him, stay quiet. Obviously I'm not talking about like DV or like these kind of situations, but like why would you include me if you're gonna stay? Anyway, so he proposed, and is this what ADHD is? So he proposes, and she says yes, and that's where, you know, the story starts. So let me go through my post-its because maybe I'll find the one about the ugly ring. Oh, I think I actually just found it. Okay. She would definitely think that the pinkish diamond on Angus's hand was ugly as. So, see, she's being, you know, judgy. Oh, this is another point I wanted to say. I'm going to say it before I forget. But I think that I've realized why the ratings, what is up with my hair, are low. That's my theory. Again, based on like 100 pages, I still have like 300 left. I think the rating is low because the main character is a complex female character and she's unlikable. I'm calling it. I feel like it's more common for like casual readers to read these kind of books, like more romance, contemporary, And I feel like they really tend to dislike more unlikable female characters. I've tried to like understand that concept, and like the way it was explained to me is that often they want to like put themselves in the shoes of the character. They don't like it. I think it makes for interesting stories, but I mean, sometimes I don't like them, but it's more like the book I don't like than the actual complexity of the female character. Anyway, that's my theory. So that was the first post-it I wanted to talk about. And yeah, she's being judgy about her friend. She's like, that's not how I'm supposed to feel like if my best friend's getting engaged, which, like, to be fair, if we're going to be real honest, I'm going on tangents, but that's literally the goal of my reading vlogs at this point. If they don't feel like FaceTime session, what's the point? I'll admit sometimes, not like best friends, but I've had like acquaintances that they get engaged and I have opinions. I don't share them because that's not the right thing to do. But it's always the most lovely, kind woman that ends up with not the kindest man. It annoys me every time. Like, obviously, I'm not going to say anything, but like, I feel bad. I feel like she deserves better. Anyway, that is not what's happening in here, as far as I know. All she has said so far is that he's being kind of cringy the way she sees it. But it feels like part of the reason she doesn't approve is because she feels like she's going to lose her friend, which honestly, probably not wrong. That's usually what happens, right? It does mention, though, that now that she has written a book, I'm at page 46, that a lot of people will ask her, oh, what genre is it? Like a chick lit? Like the fact that she's associated to like women's fiction. And I feel like that used to be the thing, right? You would be women's fiction, and then it became every female author was YA author. And I feel like lately it's been romantasy. That's my theory. Oh, that was still her being judgy about her friend getting married. And yeah, that's when she finds the one star that suddenly appeared as she's at the wedding. So like horrible timing. And like I completely understand how raw and like sensitive it must be to receive low ratings, but authors should not look. They really should not look. Okay. And then I got to the reasoning as to why he gave her that rating, and I was like, oh, I was prepared to, be on her side even though she was being, pretty judgy. And now I'm like, I'm forced to be on his side. That is not what I expect. This is not what I signed up for. I feel like too many romance books, less lately that I've read, but like when I first started reading some and trying them, I felt like every time the male character would do something that I thought was unacceptable, and like multiple usually. And she would eventually forgive him, and I could never root for these romance books. So I find it almost refreshing whenever the female character is the villain in the like hate to love. I feel like authors are walking a thin line. You have to make something happen, fine, but like it can be unforgivable no matter who does it. Anyway, so yeah, that's him calling her out, which page 105. So yeah, I am now at part 3. 110, that's what I said. So yeah, I have a long way to go, but I'm now finally invested. When that happened, I giggled a little bit and was like, oh, that's a good sign, because I started a little rough, but now I have my theories. I have Claudia yelling at the door. I tried to lock myself, okay? I really wanted to focus and yap as much as possible, as quickly as possible, but the beast has found me. She's not even moving. That is scary. Girl, it looks like a picture. What are you doing? Claudia, what are you doing? Girl, you're scary. You're scary. What are you doing? Look at me. I found a tripod for you guys so you won't have those really weird angles when I would review in here and I need both hands to talk about post-its. But I finished a book very quickly, honestly. I read this book in like, what, 2-3 days? And I'm giving it 4-star. Okay, we're jumping right away with the rating because I think these people online were wrong. Did I read any of those reviews? No, and I won't. I feel like sometimes you read a book and you need to know what people have to say for validation, or sometimes you can't figure out how to explain how you're feeling about it, and it helps. And hopefully you can't hear Claudia's review in the background. She's not allowed in here, okay? Last time she was in here, she chewed through the cable of the fairy lights, and luckily was not electrocuted, but don't want to anticipate. So I really enjoyed it. I will say I think for me, the best part is the fact that you're following them over 10 years or almost a decade. And you can see them change and evolve, and you can see their life going up and down and their relationship together, you know, the enemies to lovers or whatever that they kind of play throughout said decade. But what I appreciated is that you start following them when they're like early mid 20s, and they see the world very, you know, black and white. They know what they want, they're gonna go and get it. And then, you know, life happens. It has a way of humbling us, and you can see that throughout those years. And because sometimes one of them is doing better than the other, it switches things up. I found it entertaining. So in general, I just found it more believable than some of the other ones that I've seen. And I also appreciate that I was right, by the way, okay? What I was mentioning in the beginning, that I thought maybe some people were not liking her because she was in the wrong. Yeah, again, based on no reviews at all, but because you see her, you know, realizing what she's done and blah, 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 the effects on her life, I appreciated that, okay? I feel like sometimes, I haven't read that many romance books, but either the man keeps doing something really bad constantly. I've mentioned it, like, is it the Honeymooners? The guy does like 3 things that I think are unforgivable. Or there is the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. The first fight they have, he says something that I think is too far. And like, I don't care if she forgave him. I didn't. So I still like the book, but like that portion really annoyed me. I don't feel like they do that to each other, which again, the bar is low. But I appreciated it. Now, let me just check my post-its because Claudia, okay, again, she stopped yelling because she knows. She chewed my post-its, so they're all curved and I have to look for them. So I'm gonna, clearly I'm the professional here. But the book wasn't just about romance, which again, I appreciate with romance books that are not just that. Yes, the whole finding yourself and life humbling you and everything, but also her best friend, their relationship changing over the years and how they're, you know, making different choices for their lives and how it's affecting them. And oh my God, that was painful. I'm trying to not include any spoilers, but I'm seeing things when I'm looking at post-its. Oh my God, you know how earlier I was also mentioning that books will mention other books? Yeah, the bell jar makes me side-eye the character automatically. Like, I think it's enjoyable to see older characters that are forced to reevaluate themselves, their views, others, how they perceived others. Was she right to feel that way? Was she not? Yeah, I liked it, okay? Screw all these people online that didn't like it. I disagree with them. And now I have to go and get the jar. I forgot to bring it. I'm not looking forward to getting up because Chip made an attempt on my life today. This little sweetheart played with the fountain again. I am an idiot, okay? Every couple of weeks I'll be like, oh, it's better for cats to have an actual fountain, you know, not just a bowl of water. But every time Chip plays with it and then there's water everywhere. And earlier today I was distracted. I went into the kitchen and ooh, did I slip? I slipped and hard, and I didn't fall on my knee, but I pulled something. Okay, the outside going down, oh, I can just put a tiny bit of pressure or make the wrong move. It hurts. So I'm hoping that within a few days, I'll feel better because listen, I do not care what that knee feels. I will be reorganizing at least half my library, but I'm like threatening my knee right now. But right now, unpleasant. So let's go and quickly pick a book because I know the one I'm not starting it tonight because that was a little painful, but I liked it. Oh my God, Claudia, let's go grab her too because my gosh, girl. Girl, this is harassment. This is harassment. This is not cool. No, leave me alone. Ah! This is Chunk. And you are back on the cat tree. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the worst angle. So, the giant jar, which like, there's a lot of yellow here. It's a lot of nonfiction. I haven't picked any actually this year. Am I cheating? I feel like that's probably childhood trauma. The fear that people are assuming the worst of you automatically. I will will not be exploring that. So, I don't even remember what I wanted for this. Green is fantasy. And like, fantasy is great, but if you, I don't know where it is, but the mini jar that contains the ones I have tried and or finished during this challenge, a lot of them are green. To be fair, I did do specific challenge trying to declutter, but I don't know where that book is going to be. So I'm gonna, that's pointless. I should just tell you because you're not going to see shit. What is this? It was not even on the right side, but King of Scars, which, you know what? Actually, it's okay. I was going to say we're putting it back in there because the last thing I need is to start another series. But that is technically, yes, the first book in a series, but in the world I've already read 5 books in. So, you know what? I'm not getting up. I will find it tomorrow. Pinky promise. I'll insert it here. Okay, and that's one of the only ones that's actually... There you go. Yay! That was the easiest thing. I was so worried. But nope. Everything else is a mess, so... Editing Queen. Like I said, I have read 5 books in that same universe and 6 by this author. Honestly, I don't own any of them almost anymore because as much as I really like the Grishaverse, I feel like that's controversial. Maybe less. I feel like people are less into that series than I used to. But I like them. I like the world. I like the characters. I like the magic system. But I didn't really care about the story that much. Right? Maybe? I feel like a lot of people were saying, oh, you don't need to read the Grisha trilogy before reading Six of Crow duology, which I've always called them liars. Which, like, you can, obviously, but, like, you're missing so much context and, like, no explanation for the magic system. And, of course, people would always argue with me about it. And it's like, you don't know. You haven't read it. So, this feels like a throwback of nostalgia. I get to experience these fights all over. It is so not that serious. But I know that in that series you're following the prince, which I do like him. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, am I forgetting something? I just need to make a decision because that book has been on my shelf for a couple of years. So, okay, the jar was right. Whatever. This is a good pick. Actually, these 2 books so far in that challenge were 2 that I wouldn't have picked up anytime soon. So I guess the jar is working. So whatever.
Lazy Sunday mornings, hiding under covers. I don't mind staying in with you. Play your favorite movie, laying right beside me. I don't mind when it's just us two. That corner coffee shop we like to go. Late night walks with you to take me home. With you I never feel alone.
These little songs make me glad to call you mine. And you have got my head in the clouds.
1, 2, 3. All that I need is your body next to me.
Okay, so it's not perfect, but I wanted, you know, that portion to be somewhat done for the background of my videos this week. So it's mostly favorites that are visible, so that like these I tried, kind of gives you an idea of my taste. And this was really hard for fantasy, not gonna lie. Like, there's still some good ones obviously in here, but kind of gives you an idea of what I have really enjoyed. So it gives you an idea if our tastes would align. And sci-fi was also really hard. It doesn't look very pretty because, again, I tried to like mostly put my favorites to give you an idea. I still need to go through these just to make sure there's nothing else I would prefer putting there. There's a bit of empty spaces because I don't have all of my books. So yeah, I didn't really reorganize the nonfiction, but most of them are on there. So yeah, it will have to be a good enough kind of situation here. Okay, so to be honest, today is not a great day for me. I've been coughing a lot, so I'm not going to make this too long, but I've reorganized a little bit, as you saw. It's not perfect, but I really want to film this weekend, and I can't do it with that background. I did one day, it was too much. So the good news is that I have started King of Scars, and I have to say it feels really nice to be back in that world because as much as I have mixed feelings about the series in general, I love the characters, I love the magic system, the world building, and it just feels like a warm hug. Like I started reading the series, like the Grisha trilogy, basically when I started watching and doing booktube videos, which, back in the day, it feels great. It was all the rage. I just never continued. Even though Nikolai, like I mentioned, is one of my favorite characters, but I don't want to say too much for the story because that would be spoilers for the other two series, which is kind of crazy at this point. But I know there's at least one more book, but I haven't heard a lot of people talk about them, at least not in years. So probably tells you something. But I made it like 100 and something pages in. Where am I? I'm at 114. I'm back to feeling like I'm not going to enjoy the story that much. Like I'm not invested in what happens, but I still like, again, the magic system and the characters I'm going to. Let me just check my post-its just in case I can actually say something about them. Oh my god. Okay. When I finished the duology, when I finished Six of Crows, the second book, I made a prediction and I was mad in advance. And I don't think it's going to happen, but this section reminded me of that. And I'm still laughing at it because I didn't like one thing that happened at the end of the Six of Crow duology, which, by the way, I'm still really annoyed at the fact that they stopped the production of season 2 of Shadow and Bones, whatever, the series, the TV show, because it was really good. And we were just starting to open the door to having, the other duology mixed with the trilogy. It would have been really good. I really don't understand. Does anyone know, like, the actual reason? Because I'm still really shocked. I feel like it went well. I don't know why they keep doing that. They, like, do one season and then they cut off everything before it has time to even become popular. Anyway, so that was that first post-it because I'm still very much annoyed. And yeah, pretty much right after something that happens that contradict what I thought was going to happen. So I don't think it will. But yeah, I didn't really put much post-its. I was just reading it, trying to enjoy it. But it's one of those series that actually, her writing in general, I feel like I can't read her books. Sometimes you read a book, you blink, and you're 100 pages in. Not the case at all. But I think that this is the point where it, like, either we make it or we break up and I don't finish the series and I kind of give up on the author because I had read Night House and I didn't enjoy it. I do have book 2 and, like, I want to try it. Hellbent. I want to try it, but if it doesn't improve, I think I'm going to be done with the author. Not because, I will have read a lot of her books, but eventually sometimes you just have to admit that an author is just not an all-time favorite. It doesn't mean that I will never read anything else by her, but, and the fact that I'm having the discussion 100 pages into this book is not a good sign. So I'm not ready to admit it to myself yet, though. So I'm going to stop talking because my throat, but progress is being made. We kind of had a successful reorganization. I couldn't stay up any longer because my knee actually still hurt. I don't need forecasts. 3's enough, right? That's the guilty party. It's your fault my knee hurts. Listen, I literally had to push back my upload because I couldn't finish this book and I was stubborn and I decided to push through. The ending was good. That's the worst part, but my gosh. Listen. I think that this should be a lesson for me that I need to listen to my instinct because I haven't edited those clips yet, but I feel like I remember saying that I had a feeling that, like the other books, I wasn't going to be as invested in the story. And, like, that's exactly it. Like, I felt the same with every single one of her books. And again, like the magic system, like the character, do not care about the story. Again, the ending was still good. Her endings are good, but I don't think I've given 5-star to any of her books ever. And again, I don't need to give a book 5-star to enjoy myself or anything, but there's just always something that is lacking. Like, there's the little magical spark that makes you so invested in the story or the characters or whatever. Like, her writing just doesn't work that well for me. I am not removing, which I think I also said that. Like, see, Emily, you have to listen to yourself. I am not opposed to reading something else by her if she ever comes out with something absolutely amazing, but, great reviews and everything, but I'm not going to continue the series. I think I'm sadly done with that universe. I'm still very sad about the fact that we're not getting a season 2 for the TV show. But yeah, honestly, Emily, listen to yourself. I do want to not forget to put back, let me do that because I have the 2 papers and I have the jar, which, my gosh, I keep coughing still. I got better and then it's coming back. Anyway, look, that's what I meant by like everything I'm reading is green. But again, I've done some decluttering, so it makes sense, but it's still, you know, and actually surprisingly pink too. So that was the 1-star romance, which 4-star enjoyed. And then this is going to be the one I just finished, King of Scar. Yes, King of Scars. And this one, I think I'm going to give it 3. It, like, the story wasn't bad or anything. Like, if someone told me I gave that book 5-star, I would believe them. Not that I ever not believe them. Ooh, Emily. I will not be going down that route. But I will go shower because I put oil in my hair. I have a face mask on my face. That's why I'm like very shiny. But I think it went okay. It went okay. 2 books that I would not have gotten around to reading anytime soon. And honestly, I'm really excited to go back to trying to find some good fall reads for the upcoming vlogs. I think I'm going to try to do a long one. And eventually we'll go back to this challenge again, which I haven't picked up one sci-fi. Not one? Did I put them back? Honestly, 2025 has been a really long year. I've made some good progress with the TV show The Gilded Age, which I was supposed to watch some fall movies. It did not happen. Okay, I'm so sucked into that TV show. I am currently watching season 3, and things have gotten so intense. It was so cozy at first, and now it's like super intense. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Shout out again to June's Journey for sponsoring this video. Definitely check out the game if you want to try a cozy murder mystery kind of story. I'll put more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in my next video because I'm late on my schedule because of that book. The ending was worth it, but like spending over a week on a book wasn't worth it.